Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. I'm here because I care about humankind. And though my messages are just being totally irrelevant to the people as far as they are concerned, I find myself here constantly doing it anyway because apparently I can't help myself. Many times I've said I'm through, but I find myself in a few hours back here standing to say it one more time. I'm doing this because there is an answer. If I didn't know an answer to these problems, I'd probably be just like the rest of you. But I do know the answers. And it seems so very, very complicated as to why you can't understand. And it makes it seem as if you don't want to understand. For the most part, how do you take away a right or need to lie? People do an awful amount of lying. How do you take away that right? Because people say, I got a right to lie, or a need to lie. How do you take away that right, that need to cheat or to steal? How do you take away that right to cause hate, to cause racism, to cause bigotry? How do you take away that right to cause poverty and crime and violence, to cause terror or war? We blame our politicians, but ladies and gentlemen, it is not our politicians. It is we the people. And how has this happened to us as we the people? We've been deceived. You know, to answer the problems that I've just mentioned, it appears that on the surface, that justice and fairness would eliminate the need for such of these or for anyone to engage in them. However, there's something that is always paramount, and that is greed. There remains a propensity to need or want more. Now, is it possible to curb or eliminate greed? And if it's so, how do you do it? How do you create a desire to stop doing what seems to be impossible to do? You ask that question, and people will give you variations of answers. Some will say, make life about giving, not getting. Using gifts to give in the process. Using your personal, individual gifts in the process. But regardless, at the end of the day, America is in trouble. And as I see, there's two ways to go. You can either go moral or immoral. You can either go worse or you can go better. I didn't say stand still, because we're not going to do that. So we can either go worse or we can go better. What would your choice be? You know, ladies and gentlemen, I think about what the message has been to us, what we have been given to start to understand this life. We have seen how this life is shaped. When I say this life, I'm talking about what is happening today. It's not new. It's the same thing that's been happening since the beginning of time. Maybe not at this magnitude, but definitely the same. In other words, it's the same thing that happened with the first man and the first woman. They didn't agree on certain things, and one was influenced by the other. And it replicated itself as far as their children are concerned. The disagreements, they weren't no different than the ones that we have now. And what did they do? End up killing. Why? You see, for the same basic principles of not understanding life. And as long as we don't understand life, we're going to continue to do the things that we're doing. What happened most recently, to give us an indication of the beginning, is how we had established some basic concepts, some basic principles that we could assume that were pretty accurate and pretty right on. And all of a sudden, something stepped out there with an alternative, which everything that you had accepted as being proper now was challenged as being improper. in something new. In other words, lies, cheating, all of these things were acceptable. It came on the scene by one person, two people, three people, doesn't matter. It was there. And what happened, you found out that there were a lot of people who were really, really, really ready to get on that bandwagon. And why were they ready to get on that bandwagon? Because life had dealt them such a blow, such a, I don't want to use the profane word, a very tough blow. And it had not been corrected. And people had just accepted it until something would come along to bring about the kind of changes. And what happened? This happened to be an evil one that came along, and they jumped on that bandwagon. But before that evil one came along, there was one that was not evil. That was one that came along and told people how they could actually live as though they were in heaven, whatever that means. It meant that there weren't any troubles. And they had never heard that before, and so they didn't believe it. But when the liar came along, started talking about the lies and how you can make this stuff work, oh, they knew lies. They had seen lies all of their life. But what this actually did, it gave you some indication of what happens in your daily life, how you deal with businesses, and actually to be able to prop up these kind of activities, it kind of made it okay, normal. And so when you're dealing with business people, you know, when you go to the gas pump, gas price is higher. It's not because the gas is stuff. It's just a bunch of lies that you've been told where people can get more of your money. See, that's number one in America. That's number one in the world. When you go to buy any food that you'd had one price at one time, now the prices have jumped up. They say, well, the cost. No, it's about, cost. Robbing you. And this is for everything, whether you're talking about vehicles, whether you're talking about getting repairs. You go to a repair shop, unless you got a lot of money, so if you get screwed, you can sue, you gonna get screwed. Why? Because that's the way of life. Getting screwed is the way of life. Abuse. And you can't really make a law to protect you, because the law is designed to be broken. And who is the law going to work for? Who is not above the law? People who broke. And so if you got struggling to survive, you're going to get screwed every time. What you going to do about it? What can you say? Who cares about what you say? Can you go to court to prove it? And so all of these challenges exist within the human race. We have seen how certain people of the community are treated just because of their color. They're just murdered. And people who murder them seem like they got the permission of the system to just murder these people because they get away with it all the time. Now that to me seems like it's very, very corrupt, but that's what happens. That's the way it is. Now, when I come to you and I listen to people talking about all kinds of stuff, for instance, like the Republicans, they are asking you to vote for them, to put them back in office. A few years ago, they were in office. They did stuff for rich people. But if you were poor, they didn't do anything for you. In fact, they used you to prop them up, to make them look good, to think that you were going to get something out of them. And they used the thing of white supremacy, or should I say just color, just to motivate you and to get you moving fast, to get you to attack your brothers of a different shade, thinking that it was the right thing to do. That's how confused we are as a people. No, it doesn't make any sense, but that's the way it really is. So how do you deal with stuff like this? How do you deal with the fact that someone wants you to put them back in office when they couldn't do anything for the masses of the people? They couldn't do anything. And then when they found that you recognized a greater majority of you says, to heck with this, then they got upset and want to lie and take back the office and get these guys who believed in them to attack the nation. And now having attacked the nation and all of the stuff is coming out about it, they still telling you, put them back in office. They can do what the Democrats haven't done. All of the problems that exist that exist today have been existing my entire life. Republicans and Democrats, nobody been able to put anything down. Few changes here, few changes there, but the big problems continuously exist. But put them back in office, they say. The ones that are liars, the ones who says, we want to win, and if you don't support us, we're going to get guns and walk down the street when you and kill you, threaten you at least. And if you act like you get out of line, according to this guy from Illinois who comes to Wisconsin with his gun, go out and kill people. I mean, just killing folks. But now you look at this. Where does this lead? All you got to do is look at what's happening in Ukraine, how Russia has attacked, I mean, a nation, well, really one man. Well, not really one man. He had the approval of the people with power to go out and attack this nation, to bomb kids, hospitals, babies. We want you to walk according to our dictates. And when they say they fight back and you're not winning, then you go and get your soldiers to go and force people to become soldiers. Now, they don't become soldiers to against you, which is what they should do. They go out and kill other folks and be killed on your command. And that's what they're trying to take America to, lead them to being able to accept force and evil and just like that. But I say to you Americans, because I don't want to talk past 13 minutes, I say to you Americans, ask these politicians, whoever they might be, ask them, do they have a plan to put everybody in a career or a job? And not just a career, any career, a job, but one that would allow them to have the access to housing, to food and clothing, to education and health care, to transportation and the other things of life. Ask them if they have a plan that would include and allow everybody to enjoy the benefits of this. Ask them. If they don't have a plan that would benefit everybody, then they are no good. They are no good for me. If you don't have a plan for the white man, the black man, the Indian man, and all whatever kind of man, if you don't have a plan for them, you're not right for me. So I ask you, why do you accept them? Why do you accept people that will come in and divide you? You got to be blind in order to do that. In order to pass that up, you got to be able to see. And when you, a blind person, talks to a person that can see, you don't believe what they're talking about. Why? Because you're blind. You can't hear that. And so when I come along and tell you these things about how you can have heaven on earth, you don't hear me. Why? Because you're blind. If you think I'm lying, go back to my post. I got thousands of them. And listen, look, and see how many people have checked them out. One or two. But when they hear that, oh, we don't hear that. Why? Because they're blind. They can't see the truth. They don't know that everybody use resources that were given to us freely. Every resource that we use to do the things that we do were given to us freely. It came with the earth. Might have been visible or invisible, maybe on the earth or under the earth. But we found a way by the spirit that's in us to cause a manifestation and recognize and utilize. Free stuff. You didn't make oil. Oil was in the earth. The other resources you didn't make were there. But because you were led by your imagination and your ingenuity to grasp, to do stuff, that wasn't you. That was designed by the Creator through you for it to happen. For you to utilize your particular gifts to do all the things that exist on the earth today doesn't cost you a penny. The reason that it's costing you a penny or thousands or millions of dollars is because you're being robbed. You've been lied to and you're being robbed. You should be able to engage yourself. Teaching, medicine, management, anything, cleaning ditches, building houses, all of these things because you love doing it. You guys, I want to make clothes. Why? Because he loves to make clothes and he has this idea. And when he starts getting to go out and try to actualize this stuff, others say, oh, I like that too. They want to get into it. So now you got people making clothes. Why? Because they love it. But today, you got people making clothes because they love it, but they are a few. Rest of them are trying to make some money. See, what the plan of life that make things beautifully, flow beautifully, is that you doing what you want to do. It doesn't cost you money to do it. And we as a human race benefit from it. And I'm not just talking about Americans. I'm talking about people all over the earth. We are responsible for those people in Russia that's being forced to put guns and go out and kill people. We're responsible for that too. Why? Because they are our brothers. And Putin is a demon that they have accepted, just like Trump. They are demons, and we've accepted it. Why? Because we don't know any better. We are blind. We are blind, and we don't want to see. But every now and then, something will come along. The floods will come. The fires will rain down. The storms will come, and you will find yourself, while you're sitting around here acting blind, with nothing. Nothing. And when you have nothing, it will begin to scale back that blinder off your eyes and give you a desire to want to see. But it'll be too late at that time. So I'm not going to, 15 minutes. Wow, I got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time. I hope I said something that's worthwhile. If not, I don't apologize. Have a good one.